So today on the pod, we're talking about sale methods, and today we're talking about auction.
Yes, auction.
The sale method being an auction. We don't see much of it in our town, to be fair.
No.
Probably saw a little bit more of it in the peak market,
Yeah.
and our current market, not so much.
Yeah, we see people attempting it, and there's a little spurt, and then they disappear again.
Talk to me a little bit more about auction, though, Callum, because there's stages to an auction, right?
Yeah.
There's obviously the lead up to the auction day, and then there's post-auction stuff as well. So
Yeah, so I mean, in this market, where it's quieter and financial climate's hard to get approval. It's harder to get approval from the bank. It's hard to get approval to compete at an auction because you have to be unconditional.
I was just going to say that. A lot of people that are listening and watching may not know to bid at an auction, you've got to be unconditional. You can't have any conditions
In your offer.
It's basically the purest form of real estate. You bid, if you win, you buy,
Yep.
and you pay straight
You're
away.
committed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the only reason you would auction in this market at the moment, when it's quieter, it's a buyer's market, is if the property is extremely unique or you're under a lot of pressure to get the property sold.
Yeah.
And you're not too worried about the end result. You just need to get it done and sold unconditionally as fast as possible.
We haven't seen many yet,
No.
but we may see some coming further this year, and that's mortgagee sales.
Yes.
They're generally done at auction solely for those reasons. It's a
Yep.
guaranteed, basically.
Bank just
sale.
wants to get their money back.
Bank wants to get their money back. They want this property sold on auction day. It's the purest form to get that to happen.
Yep. It's a good method if you want to see from the market as to what the market thinks it's worth.
Yeah.
So if you can get a few buyers on the day, or you get buyers through that campaign, 2 or 3 week campaign, you can get that feedback to the vendor. And if it doesn't sell on auction day, then you can then put a price on it that's realistic, especially if it's a unique property and it's hard to price.
Yeah.
So that's good for that. And it's also, if we flip it to the peak market, it's definitely a great method in the peak market because there's no more emotional setting than standing on the front porch of a property that you really want to buy. And there's 5 other people competing. They're all unconditional.
Yeah.
And everyone's just fighting over the property. And I've seen some great auctions achieve massive sale price, hundreds of thousands over vendors' expectation
Yeah.
because the buyers just get carried away.
Yep. And that comes down to that, or both that fear of missing out, but also that competitive nature of the human.
Yes.
And people don't like to lose. So a live auction is going to extract the best offer out of people. We're just not seeing it so much at the moment in our current market, as you pointed out, mainly because of the financial climate becoming very difficult for people to be able to be in an unconditional situation to be able to bid. So auction, great sale method to create competition, great peak market. Maybe not so much in our town at the moment on a quieter market and the current financial climate. Talking to the guys at Barfoot and Thompson up in Auckland prior to Christmas, their clearance rates, for the past 6 months have been right down under 20%.
What's the clearance rate?
Clearance rate is basically when it's actually sold on auction day.
Yes.
So they might be running, say, 500 or 600 auctions per month. Only 20% or less than 20% of those were actually selling on auction day. Then they would go to a priced campaign after the auction. When we met end of November, they had 920 auctions booked for December on alone. So that's the change of what's happening up in the Auckland market. And looking at their clearance rates from December and January, they're now back well up over 30 to 40% of clearance rates. So things are starting to change up in that Auckland market. A lot of that's from immigration, people coming into New Zealand, into Auckland, cashed up, needed to buy something. They reverted back to auction up there.
Yep.
All right. We're not seeing that down here in little old Nelson, Tasman. So auction, great, depending on the market is what I would say.
Yep. And the property.
Yep. So, get some advice from an experienced agent, but check out the market before you decide to sell by auction.